In this video, with the Performance Management Data Repository successfully installed, we will install the DX NetOps Portal Server. At this point, we can either install the DX NetOps Portal Server or the Data Aggregator Server. It doesn't matter which one is installed first. After the install of both components, we will bind the Data Aggregator to the DX NetOps Portal so either one can be installed first. For this video, we'll start with the DX NetOps Portal Server because that installation takes the longest. But in a real-world install, because the Portal Server installation takes a while to run, while the Portal Server installer is running, we can install the Data Aggregator in parallel to save some time. To get started, as you can see in this temp directory, the DX NetOps Portal 21.2.11 installer is present. Just like the process for the Data Repository installer, we will extract the installer from the tar file. We'll enter tar xvfz and NetOps Portal installer file name. This extracts the ca perf center setup.bin. This is the binary that we will run to perform the DX NetOps Portal Server installation. The DX NetOps Portal used to be called the CA Performance Center, so this is the reason the installer name does not reflect DX NetOps Portal. The DX NetOps Portal installation is a simple installation. It is just the slowest running installer. Now that we have the installer extracted, we'll run the installer. The first option is the Choose Locale option, which is where we will choose our language, and we'll choose English. Next is the license agreement, and we'll work our way through the agreement, and then accept it. We'll take a quick look and make sure that the host evaluation has passed. The host evaluation runs, and tells us if the host has enough memory, cores, and available kernel to install the server. We do, so we can start the installation. For the Choose Installation Owner option, we will perform the install as the root user. Under the Choose Installation Type option, we'll choose the single node installation. It is good to note that in the advanced installation options, it is possible to install the MySQL components on a separate node, so that the MySQL load and the NetOps Portal load are distributed across different systems. But for this installation, we'll choose the single node installation. For the Choose Install Folder option, this is the directory where the Portal Server will be installed, and we'll use the default directory. For the Enter Database Password option, it's asking to create the database password. This can be whatever we want. We'll choose a password, and then re-enter the password to confirm it. Be sure to document this password and share it with anyone who will administer the DX NetOps Performance Management System, as they will need this password for troubleshooting and working with support. The Select a Location for the MySQL Temp Directory option designates where the MySQL database will be located on this node, which includes the temp directory for MySQL. We'll hit Enter to accept the default. Set the maximum memory allocation for Performance Center services. This provides the options to change the maximum memory allocation for the services that run the portal. We'll use these default settings for each one of these. The default settings are not something we typically change unless we knew there was a specific reason to change them, or we were instructed to do so by support. The Configure DX Application Performance Management option is for APM integration. We are not integrating with APM, so we can skip this step. And that's it for installation configurations. Before we launch the installer, we'll review the selections to make sure they are correct, and it looks like they are good, so we are ready to go. Next we'll hit Enter and the installation will start. The installation can take several minutes to run, and it's important to note that the progress bar that is flying by very quickly will almost reach the end, and then the progress bar is going to seem like it sticks for a while. What's happening here is that there are a large number of files that are being laid down, but that happens pretty quickly. Then as we reach the end of the installation, there is a lot of database setup, and the database setup is what takes the majority of the time. During the database setup, it might seem like the installer stalls out, but in fact it doesn't. So the progress bar is going to idle away in this position for a few minutes now. At this point, the installer will run for several minutes, and we'll pause the video and return when the installer has completed. Okay, the installer has completed and the DX NetOps Portal Server has been installed successfully. As the final step, we'll hit Enter, and the installer will clean up any remaining artifacts. And this completes the DX NetOps Portal installation.